Hey, we're back again, the Coon Prairie Ramblers. We got Jack March over there, special guest from Massachusetts.
Up yonder way.
Sunshine, Maine.
Sunshine, Maine. Oh, yeah. And we got Luke the Rebel without a clue, and me, the amiable, affable, debonair mailman.
Debonair, let's take a vote on that.
Hey, this is the second subject, the segment. We're going to talk about homeless, because that is what Jack March is all about, the homeless. Were you ever homeless?
No, I was never homeless, and I don't want to be.
You don't want to be?
Nope.
Yeah. No, I was. You could consider me homeless at one time.
Let's hear it.
Or my mother was. My brothers and sisters were homeless at one time because they were in an orphanage. My brother and sister are 8 and 9 years older than me.
All right.
God rest her soul. But they were homeless at one time because Mama couldn't afford to couldn't afford to provide a home for them, and they ended up in an orphanage.
I think I read a book about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was written by some guy named Forrest.
Yeah.
No, a shameless plug is on the way, I can tell right now.
Well, actually, that story isn't in the book, but it's a side story. I mean, you could write a whole book about that.
He's referring to the book that he wrote, Mel himself.
Called Runaway. Anyway,
My little runaway.
so my brother and sister, they were homeless at one time because Mama couldn't provide them a home. And then when I was born in 1950, my mother couldn't afford to take me home.
She kept having kids anyway? You're lucky you got born.
I was the third one. And the hospital, I was born at University Hospital, Ohio State campus in Columbus. And they gave her an offer she couldn't refuse. They say, you can leave Forrest here. Actually, they ended up calling me Woody, the nurses. You can leave Woody here, and we will take care of him. And she did. She left me there for a year.
Really?
She could come and visit me. But the first picture that ever taken of me was in my mother's lap when I was 1 year old. The first picture with my mother, I was in her lap, and it was on my grandma's step. And I said, Mom, why is that the first step? She said, that's because that's the first time I got to bring you home, was after a year.
You lived in the hospital for a year?
Yeah. I was like the test baby for the nurses.
Yeah, I wonder what else they tested on you. Or they trained the nurses with you.
Yeah.
Oh. So you had a lot of people changing your diapers.
Mm-hmm. I had a lot of attention.
Oh,
Yep.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on
explains
the other
a lot.
side, I didn't have my mama's attention, so I think that's probably
That's
caused some problems.
You didn't have the real love of a mother.
Yeah. So tell us about what you've been doing.
What's your passion for the homeless about?
Well, when I became single back in 2010, I wasn't interested in anything but helping people in need. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I joined this church and I got involved with everything there. But the most important
Is
thing
this going to be a real tearjerker?
the most important thing I got involved with was the homeless. I did overnights with the homeless men, and I fed them dinner, and I fed them breakfast, and we played cards and chess and watched movies on the TV.
Wow.
And then we had homeless dinners once a month. We have 50 homeless people come for dinner.
No kidding.
And I was always involved with the homeless down there. And when I got to Arcadia, my gosh.
What? What about Arcadia?
The homeless here, I mean, they have a tent city of homeless people here.
Yes, they do.
It ain't any different than it is where you came from.
It's different from Skowhegan, Maine, I'll tell you.
Well,
I had a preacher come into my church and tell how he built a shelter for 60 men
yeah.
without spending a penny of the church's money.
Oh, no kidding.
Everything was donated.
Well, you say 60 men. That's more than we got. That's more homeless than we have down here.
It is not, no.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Talk to Mike Provo.
And, down here in Arcadia, they want to build a bunch of small, tiny houses.
Tiny house,
They want a
yeah.
tiny house village.
Yeah.
And,
I think that's going to end up being a slum.
If you have a tiny house village and you have one man or one person in each house,
Yeah.
you don't have any control over them. If they're living in a shelter with 60 men,
Yeah.
then there's control.
You got to have rules and something like that.
Yep, you have rules for the house. There'll be no drinking, no drugs. And to me, it just makes so much more sense to have a shelter.
Yeah. Some people
A bunch
want to
of
be
little
houses.
houses.
Yep. That's true. That's true.
Hey, dig this, man. catch a hold of this. I was a case manager for a while, adult mental health case management, and I had a guy. And there was a couple different cases like this. I had a guy, and he was at a group home. He was staying in a group home. It was a nice group home. I wouldn't want to live in a group home, but it was a nice group home, you know. And you know what his goal was? His goal was that when his next SSI check came in, he was going to take off from that nice group home and go live in the woods. Yeah. That was his goal, was to go live in the woods.
Born free.
And I asked my superiors, what do I do with this? I'm his case manager. They said, well, you can't do it. You know,
follow him.
He's autonomous. I mean, you know.
Yep.
He's a grown man. He can do what he wants to do.
I had a wealthy friend on Cape Cod. His sister was homeless in Boston.
Yeah.
And she didn't have to be. She came from a wealthy family. He would go up there on Thanksgiving and take her out for dinner.
Yeah.
You know, she would not accept monies from him or anything. She wanted to be homeless. That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. There are people like that. Yes.
Yeah. So what do you do about that?
Nothing you can do.
You can help.
Well, you know, if you maybe you have a place where people can come and have dinner or lunch, or you know, like they have that.
Get a shower or any sleep or anything.
We got the
DeSoto Cares. Yeah.
DeSoto Cares. We got the Methodist Church. They put on lunch once or twice a week.
Right? You got that other one on Mills Avenue. What's the name of that one? You worked at it.
Yeah, we did fields and potatoes over there.
But they're still living in tents or under bridges and stuff.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Yep.
So what do you do about it? You provide them a home, and then they come and live there. Then they go. I'm being the devil's advocate.
Go ahead. Yep.
You know, but they come and go. I mean, they come and they say, "Oh, this is fine. I want to go live in the woods."
Then go live in the woods.
And the reason they do want to go live in the woods, I found this out. I knew another couple who came to church at where I was going to church. She had been a Marine. She had been in the Marines once, and he had been in the Navy. And then they ended up getting together. And in San Diego, she said, we lived in the woods. And I said, why? She said, because we wanted to.
Why not? I love camping.
And we wanted to, you know, mooch off all the kitchens and everything, and go to this. There was always every day you could go to a different kitchen, you know, or foodless place, homeless place. Foodless, if it was foodless.
A foodless place, yeah.
Right.
People on a diet go there.
That presents a dilemma, doesn't it?
Oh well, no.
How do you help them if they don't want to be helped?
We had on Sunshine, where I live in Maine, the island. There's one homeless person there, and I didn't know he was homeless. I picked him up one day. He was walking on the street, limping,
Why'd you do that?
Because on the island, you see people walking, you stop and see if they want to ride.
Yeah.
You know, isn't that kind of a Christian thing to do? Yes, you do. In fact, I ran out of gas one day because there weren't any stations open on the way back to the island. And I went to get gas the next morning, and I ran out of gas, and this young lady with a baby in the back seat picked me up. You always pick up strange men?
Yeah.
She said, you're on the island.
Yeah.
You can't be that strange.
Well, when you're on the island, you do what they do on the island.
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah,
I got you. Yeah.
But anyways...
but that's different. That's on the island.
So I picked this kid up a number of times, and I said to him, where do you live? Because I dropped him off at a part of the street where there were no houses. Oh, he said, I live with my family. Well, he didn't. Yeah. He lived in a tent in the woods. He just didn't want to admit it.
Yeah.
And the next time I picked him up, I said, do you need food? He said, money. I need money.
Yeah.
I said, well, I can bring you food. You just tell me where to drop it off.
Mm-hmm.
He still wouldn't tell me where to drop it off, you know.
Nope, he wanted the money for something else.
Yep. Yes, yep.
But you can only help the ones that want to be helped. The others, they're going to do what they want to do. They're going to be...
Yeah. And it ain't like, okay, you give a guy a fish he eats for a day. You got to teach a guy how to fish. He can fish for a lifetime.
Yeah.
They don't want to learn how to fish.
And that pastor that built that shelter in Maine, he came to our island. He wrote a book, and I gave the book to my preacher. And he said, can we get him out to the church and give a talk? And he did. He came to the church, got the biggest love offering ever given at that church.
Wow, that's a pretty incredible story.
Pastor Rick Berry from Skowhegan, Sheltered by Jesus is the name of his book.
Oh, you got to watch out. Then the feral folks or something else. We're going to have to, speaking of getting wild, we got to get wild and get on out of here. So y'all stay put, and we shall return.